Hello, I am Simulated Erk, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Anywho, we are here at Sydney International Airport, and today we are going to go for a flight on this beauty. It's a Air New Zealand Airbus A320. It's the default A320 with the Air New Zealand skin details in the show notes. And what I've decided from now on is that any episode ending in 0 will be an airliner episode, and then the rest will be me flying anything else. Now, I'm not up to the stages of being able to take off or land on this plane yet, so I'm going to leave that to Otto. But I'm going to do what I can in the rest of it. So let's get ready to fly. We'll have a look outside. So there is our aircraft. Today we're flying to Auckland, New Zealand, leaving from Sydney International. And we are heading over to New Zealand. So what I'll have to do is go up here, give Otto control of the aircraft initially, because he knows how to start this thing, and I'll manage the comms. So alright, so we're not up for taxiing or anything just yet. So we're
Airport information call 2200 Zulu. Wind 257 at 3. Visibility niner. Sky condition clear. Temperature 15. Dew point 13. Altimeter 29.902. ILS.
oops. We'll do that in a minute. So we're going to do the ground services first. So we're going to request fuel supply.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069, or could you please send a fuel truck? New Zealand 069, or a fuel truck is on the road.
Alright, I'm going to take control of the aircraft back. So we'll get our jetway now.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069, or could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft? New Zealand 069, or the jetway is going to be connected.
Now, last time when we did this, we were at the domestic terminal at a medium gate, and the jetway went to the rear door. Today we're at a heavy gate, and so it looks like it's going to the right position. Well, sort of to the right position. It's obviously expecting something like a 747 rather than an A320. So we're going to request the baggage.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069, or could you please send the baggage? New Zealand 069, or baggage is on the way.
And we're going to request catering.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069, or could you please send the catering truck? New Zealand 069, or the catering truck is on the road.
So while Air New Zealand does have some aircraft that are all in black, a lot of them are black tail, white front. Black and white are traditionally New Zealand's national and sporting colours. So we'll get our luggage on board shortly. So what we're going to have to try and do on the next episode is get a 747 at a heavy gate and see if the air bridge or the jetway is in the right position for that. So up the bags go. So what we'll do, we'll leave it for a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see if the baggage comes back at any point. I doubt it will because the catering truck's leaving. Now I've been reading some reviews and comments in relation to the ground services, and some people who are pilots and some people who work on the ground, and I presume maybe even some that work in ATC, have been saying that all of these ground communications between us and ATC on the ground, or Sydney ground, wouldn't necessarily be happening. You know, they'd be organised through operations or something different like that. So we've got to wait for the fuel truck. We can't not see the fuel truck, and even on the fuel truck, some people have commented that for the majority of airliners, the fuel truck would actually be filling up on the right side of the aircraft, not the left. So I noticed on the previous airline episode, on episode 12, we used a Virgin Australia skin of the same aircraft. And I'm not sure if it's because it's a, you know, by a slightly different person as part of that livery team, or because it's a black aircraft. But I tried changing my registration to Zulu Kilo Echo Romeo Kilo, which would indicate a New Zealand registered aircraft. Zulu Kilo being the prefix rather for New Zealand, where Victor Hotel is the prefix for Australia. But that hasn't worked on this occasion. So we're just waiting for the fuel truck, and you can see the unfortunate that the jet bridge had the jetway. Oh, hang on, did we see the fuel truck? Yep, we did. There's the fuel truck. And what other industry people also mentioned is that for ground power, you don't necessarily need a ground power truck. But you would need a you wouldn't necessarily need a ground power truck, but power is built into the jetway, and in a lot of places, although I haven't necessarily seen this, you don't necessarily get a fuel truck. You also get there's a hose that comes out of the ground because there's an underground fueling system, and it goes through the hoses near the aircraft that way. So we will request the jetway get disconnected.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069er, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
Alright, so we'll do that. We'll get that organised. So I wonder if that fuel truck is going to move, because we want to push back in a minute. That fuel truck is moving, yeah. So there's a good view, a good overhead view of our plane. And the fuel truck is slowly departing at the, whoops, there we go. Our fuel truck is leaving and has left the area. I should really be, should be really outside the terminal. So what we're going to do now is we're going to concentrate on the just trying to work out the best camera angle, because some things what I can see on my screen you won't be able to see. So now we're going to request our pushback.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069er requesting pushback. Netherlands 069er pushback request accepted.
Okay, so the tug, or the super tug, I think this is a super tug, is going to connect on. Alright, so we're going to request it to the left to start with.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069er requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the left. Netherlands 069er, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Because what I would have liked to have done is to see the tug push straight back straight away, but there was no option to do that straight away. So now we might request them to push back straight for a while.
Sydney ground New Zealand 069er requesting pushback tug to push the aircraft straight. Netherlands 069er, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Now, I'm not going to do this every single time I do an airliner episode, but I thought on this occasion, I thought we would go gate to gate. The last airliner episode, episode 12, didn't quite work out gate to gate, but I won't mention why just in case you haven't seen it. So this will take a little bit of time. Nice little screen cap there. So this will take a little bit of time before we go back. I'm actually recording this out of sequence, so I don't necessarily know what my flying ability is doing by the time that this episode is coming out. I'm not sure why the parking brake is on. Otto did have control of the ship. Maybe that's why the tug was going slow, because the park brake was on. Tug seems to be going quicker now. Good job, Otto. And maybe that's what happened in the first time I tried pushback as well. So we'll go zoom out a bit and we'll have a look. We'll steer to the left.
Simulated ground Lucy land 069 are requesting pushback tuck to steer the aircraft to the left.
That seems to be a lot quicker.
Land 069er, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Watch out, catering truck. Alright, we're going to stop the pushback there. Boy, that was close.
Land 069 are requesting the end of pushback.
Does a land 069er request to end pushback received?
Alright, so we'll wait for the tug to disappear.
Simulated ground Lucy land 069 are ready to taxi departure to the east with Gulf.
Does a land 069er taxi to and hold short of runway 34 left by taxiway India November Tango Lima to Alpha Cross runway 25 Alpha Alpha 6. Contact tower on 124.7 when ready.
Taxiing hold short runway 34 left using taxiway India November Tango Lima to Alpha Cross runway 25 Alpha Alpha 6 Alpha 1 Lucy land 069er.
Alright, Otto, you have the ship.
Sydney Airport information call 2300 Zulu. Wind 257 at 3. Visibility, niner. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 13. Altimeter, 29.902. ILS runway 34 right and ILS runway 34 left in use. Landing and departing runway 34 right and runway 34 left. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have Gulf.
Right, Otto, you have the ship. Let's go, buddy.
Sydney Airport Information Hotel 2300 Zulu.
Okay, not exactly sure what Otto's waiting on at this point. Here we go, we're on the move. Now, I would have rather have done this flight with the 747, but there wasn't any available in the Air New Zealand colours. Now, Otto, where are you going? Okay, I'm a little less worried now. Now this time I do have AI traffic on, so we'll see. So we'll see what effect that has on anything. going to go around to the right. This must be International Taxiway 2 or Taxi International 2. See some other planes at gates and some buses there parked up, and there's some air stairs. So Otto's doing a pretty good job of taxiing today. It's a fairly long taxi, as any taxis seem to be at Sydney Airport. Holding short of runway 34 left, cross runway 25. So I'm quite happy showing the outside of the aircraft at the moment, especially considering that I'm not the pilot in command, or I'm not the pilot flying. More to the point. So old mate Otto's doing the all the flying. I don't see any holding short there, Otto. Oh, there we go. Runway incursion. Good on you, Otto. So taxiway Alpha straight ahead, taxiway Alpha 2, sorry, yeah, Alpha straight ahead, taxiway Alpha 2 to the left. So we're continuing all the way up, and we'll be departing on 16 right. Oh, sorry, Juliet is off to the right according to that sign. When it's really busy at Sydney Airport, you get to see a massive amount of planes just taxiing at the moment. You know, just one after the other. Now I did select AI aircraft, but there doesn't seem to be any around at the moment. So passing over General Holmes Drive, which actually does happen. The taxiways and runways do go over there, and so they put the road underneath the runway. To the right, behind the aircraft now, is the old ATC tower. So the general flying time over to Auckland is usually about 3 hours. I can actually remember once I was travelling from Brisbane to Perth. I'd been at the IndyCar races on the Gold Coast, and I was flying over to Perth to see, it was actually the last ever Rally Australia in Perth before it transferred to New South Wales. You know, that was a good 5.5 hours across country, and I can remember one of the flight attendants on the plane ended up, because we were talking about, oh, how long is this flight going to be? I was rather uncomfortable because I was all sunburnt and that from being out in the sun for 3 days on the Gold Coast. And I says, oh, you know, it's just taking forever. She says, you know, you'd be well and truly in New Zealand by now. Beautiful country, beautiful people. I've only actually been there once. It is on a long list of places to return to. I went, I think it was 2012. It wasn't my first international trip. I went from Sydney to... No, I actually flew from Brisbane because I was up for Brisbane for something else. So I flew from Brisbane to Auckland, Auckland to Queenstown, Queenstown to Sydney. It's a good week or so that I spent there. I absolutely loved it. You know, it feels so familiar, but there's enough differences that, you know you're in a different country, you know you're in New Zealand, not Australia, but so often when you're travelling overseas, especially to somewhere like America, sometimes people think I'm actually a Kiwi when they talk to me. Now, people who know the difference between the Australian accent and the Kiwi accent would know straight away, but there's some Americans out there who haven't heard a lot of accents. So we should almost be at... Yeah, so we're almost at the start of runway 16, right? So we'll tune into Sydney Tower. Maybe it realises that we're not exactly in the right spot yet. So we've got permission to taxi to... Alright, so now we can request takeoff clearance.
Sydney Tower, New Zealand 069 are ready for its departure at runway 34 left.
Okay, the...
New Zealand 069er, cleared for takeoff runway 34 left departure to the east approved.
Well, technically it is runway 16 right, but it's also 34 left.
Cleared for takeoff runway 34 left, New Zealand 069er.
So I was just going on the on the on-screen guide, then I actually saw 34 left, and I'm like, this isn't right. But we've been given permission to take off, so Otto, let's have a good flight, my friend. So we'll go into the cockpit and we'll... It's one thing I have to do in the cockpit before we do anything else. Because Otto didn't put the seatbelt sign on. Okay, so here we go. We're about to start the takeoff roll. New Zealand Flight 069 is ready for takeoff. Alright, let's go, Otto. Let's go. Alrighty. With Botany Bay and Port Botany in the background. Port Botany is a major port for the receiving of containers and other goods on ships from overseas. Okay, we're getting ready now. Our 1,233 nautical mile journey to New Zealand is about to begin. And up we go. And we're flying well.
Tower, New Zealand 069 or frequency change.
Okay, so I'm going to stay. We don't need to really tune approach at this stage.
Approach New Zealand 069 or 6 miles north of Sydney. Request IAQR to Auckland, ready to copy.
New Zealand 069er is cleared to Auckland Airport as filed. Squawk 4541.
New Zealand 069 are cleared to Auckland Airport as filed. Squawk 4541.
New Zealand 069er, read back correct. Radar contact 2,600 feet. Altimeter 29er.9er, 2 turn right heading 125 climb and maintain 11,000 feet.
Okay, so we'll acknowledge that.
Turn right heading 125 climb and maintain 11,000 feet. New Zealand 069er.
So
New
we're,
Zealand 069er, contact departure on 129er.7.
129.7 New Zealand 069er.
So 11,000 feet. Heading 125.
Departure New Zealand 069er is at 5,000 feet, climbing 11,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er departure. Continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
Okay. So we're not going to request a change to our cruising altitude just yet because we're not cruising. So over here, just check the squawk code. Yep, our squawk code's been set. And we're good to go. So we're heading up, we're just going through 7,000 feet. And we're going well. So we'll get to our 11,000 feet, and then we'll see if we can. Then we'll ask to go higher. 8,500, airspeed of 250.
New Zealand 069er. Contact Melbourne Centre on 129.8.
Going to 129.8 New Zealand 069er. Melbourne Centre New Zealand 069er is climbing through 9,300 feet for 11,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er Melbourne Centre. Continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
Alright, so we're just over 10,000 feet. We'll turn the seatbelt sign off. So we'll just cruise at 11,000 feet for the moment.
New Zealand 069er climb and maintain 13,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 13,000 feet New Zealand 069er.
Alright, so we've done that. We've set for 13,000 feet. Okay, Otto, I have the ship. Autopilot on. That'll come down in a moment. Just reduce the throttles a little bit. Wow, yeah, we are overspeeding. I'm gonna have to come back further. That'll take a little bit of time to come down. Probably just too hot for, so we'll arm the auto throttle now. And what's our altitude doing? Our altitude is just on 13,000.
Contact Brisbane Centre on 128.6.
Alright, let's see what Brisbane want with us.
Going to 128.6 New Zealand 069er. Brisbane Centre New Zealand 069er 13,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er Brisbane Centre continue as planned. Altimeter 29.92.
Alright, what we might do is ask for a cruising altitude increase by 10,000 feet.
Brisbane Centre New Zealand 069er. Request flight level 230.
New Zealand 069er climb and maintain flight level 190. Expect flight level 230.
Climb and maintain flight level 190. Expect flight level 230 New Zealand 069er.
So we've asked for... We asked for 230, he's given us 190 for the moment. And push it in. So we'll go outside. And we'll get my camera angles correct. Alright, so there we are. We're well over the ocean now. We're climbing to flight level 190, 19,000 feet, and to expect 250. So I'm quite capable of managing this stage of the fight. At the moment, it's just my in this particular aircraft, my takeoff and my landing. But I can manage this part. You know, it's simplistic, but I can manage it. So our airspeed's 285 knots. And we're just climbing through 18,000. So not a lot to see at this point in time. So we'll get back in the cockpit. Everything's under control. I just want to get to the maximum cruise. And what I want to do as well is to see how far we get before we're basically out of Australian airspace. As far as I know at the moment, we're still connected with Brisbane Centre, so I'm not sure when they actually will hand off to
Nazi to land 069 Erk flight and maintain flight level 230.
Roger that.
Climb and maintain flight level 230 New Zealand 069er.
Whoops, not that high. Alright, so we should be climbing again, and we are. Hang on, now we've got to go to 30. Two 30. No, I was right the first time. It is 2300. The auto throttle is saying that we should be doing about 285, so that's fine.
New Zealand 069 or contact Brisbane Centre on 125.7.
125.7 for New Zealand 069er. Brisbane Centre, New Zealand 069er, flight level 230.
I was right the first time.
New Zealand 069er, Brisbane Centre. Continue as planned.
Okay, I'm not going to ask for any more changes in elevation at this point.
New Zealand 069er. Contact Brisbane Centre on 128.6.
Brisbane Centre, New Zealand 069er, say again please.
New Zealand 069er. Contact Brisbane Centre on 128.6.
128.6 New Zealand 069er. Brisbane Centre, New Zealand 069er is climbing through flight level 220 for flight level 230.
New Zealand 069 or Brisbane Centre, continue as planned. New Zealand 069 or contact Brisbane Centre on 125.7.
125.7 for New Zealand 069er. Brisbane Centre, New Zealand 069er is at flight level 200, climbing flight level 230.
New Zealand 069er, Brisbane Centre. Continue as planned.
At some stage I turned the autopilot off and forgot to turn it back on. So hopefully we should be climbing to 2300. Otto, you have the ship. I just want to get up to the right altitude. I don't know why also we're at that angle. So we'll just let Otto take control. I'm still learning this stuff. So I thought the autopilot was doing the work, but I didn't have the autopilot turned on. Oops. One thing that I have noticed is Otto loves driving the ship hard. He certainly loves to be full throttle. So we'll get stabilized. Now I don't know how far away it is before we get into New Zealand airspace. So we're just going to accelerate things just a little bit. We're just going to accelerate to cruise. Just to accelerate things a little bit. We don't need to see the whole flight. So we're just going to start cruise with Otto in control now. And we're just going to see, yep, we're ready to fly.
Brisbane Centre, New Zealand 069 is at 13,500 feet, descending 13,000 feet.
New Zealand 069 Brisbane Centre, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.92. New Zealand 069 climb and maintain flight level 230.
230.
Climb and maintain flight level 230, New Zealand 069er.
230. Alright, Otto, I have the ship. Autopilot on. Have we... What the hell are we doing down at 1.6? Otto, you have the ship. Because I thought we was going to be much higher. We're still 714 nautical miles away from Auckland. If I pull up a map, probably won't show us much. No, it just shows that we're in the middle of the ocean. Thought that there might have been some waypoints that we had to navigate via. There we go. So we're climbing up to 2,300 feet. I'd really have to look back to the video and see how many nautical miles we actually accelerated through. Because according to the travel to, we're just at the end of cruise going into descent. So we're climbing up to 23,000 feet again, and we're still talking to Brisbane Centre. So I don't know how far out they actually extend out to. So some interesting facts, courtesy of the Air Services Australia website. Air Services Australia, they just call themselves Air Services these days, is responsible for around about 11% of the world's airspace. So it looks like that half of the basically half of Australia's airspace is managed by Melbourne Centre. So basically Victoria, some of New South Wales, all of South Australia, the bottom half of the Northern Territory, and most of Western Australia, and Tasmania, all of Tasmania, while Brisbane controls the northern half of the Northern Territory, the whole of Queensland, and some of New South Wales. And Brisbane Centre itself manages airspace over the northern half of Australia, representing 5% of the world's total airspace. Brisbane Centre's flight information region neighbours include Indonesia, East Timor, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, New Zealand and the USA. It is responsible for the airspace from 45 nautical miles or 83 kilometres north of Sydney up to the airspace boundaries with Indonesia and Papua New Guinea in the north and east to the airspace boundaries with New Zealand and Fiji. Brisbane Centre also manages the upper level airspace for the Pacific Island nations of the Solomon Islands and Nauru under contracts with the government for both nations. Brisbane Centre has a strong focus on international air traffic since all international flights to Australia from North or South America travel through Brisbane airspace, as do a significant share of flights to Australia from Asia. For example, the oceanic airspace off the east coast of Australia is managed from Brisbane Centre, so aircraft flying from Sydney to New Zealand, Auckland, or from Tasmania to New Zealand travel through Brisbane airspace for a significant part of their journey. To further demonstrate the extent of Brisbane Centre's airspace, the Brisbane Flight Information Region covers most of the northern portion of Western Australia. The transition to Brisbane Centre began in 1998, with the centre in full operation in January 2000. So if we have a look at Melbourne, for instance. So the Melbourne Flight Information Region includes the southern half of Australia and the Southern and Indian Oceans, representing about 6% of the world's surface. Our service delivery extends from Indonesia to the South Pole and from halfway to New Zealand to halfway to Africa. The centre is directly responsible for en route services through the flight information region. The first air traffic control operations commenced in Melbourne in November 1988. By January 2000, the transition to full operations was complete. Air Services works with our flight information region neighbours, including South Africa, Mauritius, Mali, the Maldives, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and Auckland.
Overspeed, 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 overspeed.
Otto,
Overspeed, overspeed,
what are you doing?
overspeed, 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 overspeed.
Have the ship.
Overspeed,
Otto, have the ship.
overspeed, 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 overspeed.
Alright, auto throttle's on, autopilot on. I have the ship. So our altitude's good, our speed was just too high, Otto. We're under 700 nautical miles now to Auckland. So the auto throttles are just settling the plane down. We'll have a look outside, see what's going on. So just reading the Air Services website, there's a big amount of change coming to air traffic control in Australia in a program that is going to be called One Sky Australia. So a partnership between Air Services Australia and the Australian Department of Defence, which will replace existing air traffic management systems. So what they're basically going to do is combine the civil aviation, so general aviation plus airliners, etc., in with the military in a system called CMATS, Civil Military Air Traffic Management System, under the One Sky Australia program. So that's going to commence in 2022, and the final release will be in 2024. So that will allow more flexible airspace, flexibility for air traffic controllers that move easily between positions, geographical areas and work groups, and a national approach to the oversight and operation for Australian airspace for military and civil use. So it will cover 53 million square kilometres, and there'll be 16 sites for both air services and defence to use the technology. So some interesting stuff there. Might be time to accelerate things, so we'll accelerate to descend, and we'll just accelerate the process a little bit. I forgot to note down how much difference there is in where we are. Oh, we got to tune to Auckland Centre now.
Auckland Centre, New Zealand 069er is climbing through 12,700 feet for 13,000 feet.
Okay. Otto, you have the ship.
Auckland Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
So, we're in Auckland Oceanic airspace now. I really would have loved to have been actually flying when we went into Auckland's airspace, but I just didn't know when that was going to be. And on it.
New Zealand 069er, you are 300 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 13,000 feet altimeter 29.902.
Roger that.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet, New Zealand 069er.
Okay, Otto, I'll have the ship.
Overspeed, overspeed, overspeed,
throttles back a little bit. He doesn't mind driving the ship hard, does he, Otto? So we're 460 nautical miles away from Auckland now. So while we're here talking about New Zealand, Air New Zealand is the flag carrier for New Zealand. And I'll put a link on this in the show notes for you. Based in Auckland, the airline operates scheduled passenger flights to 20 domestic and 32 international destinations in 20 countries, primarily around and within the Pacific Rim. The airline has been a member of the Star Alliance since 1999. Commenced operations in April 1965 with hubs in Auckland, Christchurch and Wellington, with a focus city of Sydney. Fleet size of 116, 50 destinations. 53% owned by the Government of New Zealand. Although some of these figures go back to 2016.
Land 069er, you are 900 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain 13,000 feet altimeter, 29.2.
Roger that.
Climb and maintain 13,000 feet, New Zealand 069er.
Alright, we should be climbing again. Alright, Otto, you have the ship. Okay, our altitude's starting to rise again. According to this on Wikipedia, just a handy overall.
Land 069er, please expedite your climb to 13,000 feet.
Yep, we're on it. Originated in 1940 as Tasman Empire Airways Limited, Teal, operating trans-Tasman flights between New Zealand and Australia. It became wholly owned by the New Zealand government in 1965, and then it was renamed Air New Zealand. The airline served international routes until 1978, when the government merged it and the domestic New Zealand National Airways Corporation into a single airline under the Air New Zealand name. Air New Zealand was privatised in 1989 but returned to majority government ownership in 2001 after near bankruptcy due to a failed tie-up with Australian carrier NZ Australia. And NZ Australia died in 2001 just after 9/11. There were long-haul flight services to Eastern Asia, the Americas and the United Kingdom. It was the last airline to circumnavigate the world with flights to London Heathrow via Los Angeles and Hong Kong. Flights via Hong Kong ended in March 2013 when Air New Zealand stopped Hong Kong-London flights in favour of a code-share agreement with Cathay Pacific. Air New Zealand operates a fleet of Airbus A320s, A320neos,
Overspeed.
Otto,
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
3% throttle.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
Do we just see what happens?
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
Otto, I have the ship.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
Autopilot on.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
So, just a little bit more history about early Air New Zealand beginning as Teal. It was an international agreement between New Zealand, Australia and the UK. The initial shareholders were New Zealand Government, United Airways of New Zealand, Qantas and BOAC, the British Overseas Airways Corporation, which later became British Airways. Australian and New Zealand governments purchased 50% shares in Teal in 1953, and they started flying land-based turboprop airliners by 1960 instead of the flying boat operations that they were at that stage. And in 1965, the New Zealand government basically brought out the Australian government and became Air New Zealand. In 1978, the National Airways Corporation and subsidiary Safe Air were merged into Air New Zealand. They introduced their first Boeing 747 in 1981 and initiated services to London via Los Angeles in 1982. Their DC-8s and DC-10s were withdrawn in 1983, and in 1985 they saw the...
Land 069er, you are 400 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain 13,000 feet altimeter, 29.902.
Roger that.
Climb and maintain 13,000 feet, Lucia Land 069er.
Are we going up? I've given it the instruction. Still going up and our airspeed's dropping. Otto, you have the ship. So let's see, the first thing he'll do is just open the throttle, go back to nearly 100% throttle, because that's what Otto does. Air New Zealand acquired a 50% stake in Ansett Transport Industries in 1995.
Land 069er, please expedite your climb to 13,000 10,000 feet.
We're working on it. So in 2000, Air New Zealand announced that it had chosen to acquire the entirety of Ansett, increasing its 50% stake and then carried to 100%. But some people who are business commentators believe that there may have been a critical mistake, as Ansett's fleet staffing levels and infrastructure outweighed that of Air New Zealand. So September 2001 happened. Air New Zealand and Ansett almost collapsed. Ansett did collapse as it turned out. Air New Zealand also tried to purchase Virgin Blue, which then became Virgin Australia. Air New Zealand placed Ansett Australia into voluntary administration, so Ansett was forced to cease operations after that. So after September 11, in October 2001, Air New Zealand was renationalised by the New Zealand government. And that was the only thing that stopped Air New Zealand from going out of business. In 2002, they reconfigured their domestic operations under a low-cost airline business plan. There was a proposal from Qantas, Australia's national carrier, to purchase a 1/5 stake in the carrier, and they returned to profitability in 2003. Otto. You know what, Otto? You're just going to handle it yourself, mate. Let's see what happens. So in 2004, they relaunched their long-haul products, including new business, premium economy, and economy class cabins for long-haul aircraft. In 2003, they added the Airbus A320 to short-haul international and domestic flights, and they received their first Boeing 777 aircraft and placed orders for the 787 Dreamliner in 2004. In 2010, they approved an alliance between Air New Zealand and Virgin Blue, that's by now called Australian Virgin Australia, for code shares and that sort of thing on trans-Tasman and domestic flights. Air New Zealand purchased a 26% shareholding in Virgin Australia, but that was in 2010. By 2016, they sold their remaining stakes in Virgin Australia. That was like 6 years later, and in 2018 they formally ended their partnership. If you have a look in the stats, I don't know if this is a bug with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it says that the maximum cruise speed is 450 knots indicated airspeed. So in February 2020, just before the certain global pandemic, Air New Zealand operated 114 aircraft, including 23 Airbus A320s, 11 Airbus A320, A321neos, 8 Boeing 777s,
Overspeed.
777-200s, 8 Boeing 777-300s, and 14 Dreamliners. And with more aircraft on order, 50 turboprop aircraft, including 27 ATR-72s and 23 Bombardier Q300s. Are we at the right altitude? Yep. So we're just going to fast forward again, and we're just going to go to approach. Okay, Otto, you got the ship all the way down.
New Zealand 069er. Contact New Zealand Center on 119.2.
Going to 119.2 New Zealand 069er.
Okay, Otto, you got the ship.
New Zealand Center, New Zealand 069er, 13,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er, New Zealand Center, continue to drag as planned. Altimeter 29.92.
Alright, so we're good. So we're going to overspeed again because Otto. Otto reducing throttles. Otto, have the ship. Alright, our speed's coming down. I just want to set the auto throttle again. Wonder if that's a bug.
New Zealand 069er, you are 1,700 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain 13,000 feet, altimeter 29.92.
Roger that.
Climb and maintain 13,000 feet, New Zealand 069er.
New Zealand 069er, please expedite your climb to 13,000 feet. New Zealand 069er, please expedite your climb to 13,000 feet. New Zealand 069er, contact Auckland approach on 129.5.
Going to 129.5 New Zealand 069er. Auckland approach New Zealand 069er is climbing through 9,000 feet for 13,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er, Auckland approach, continue to erect as planned. Altimeter 29.902. New Zealand 069er, contact New Zealand Center on 119.2.
119.2 for New Zealand 069er. New Zealand Center, New Zealand 069er is at 10,600 feet, climbing 13,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er, New Zealand Center, continue to drag as planned. Altimeter 29.902. New Zealand 069er, descend and maintain 3,000 feet.
So down to
3,000 feet, New
3,000.
Zealand 069er.
New Zealand 069er, contact Auckland approach on 129.5.
129.5 for New Zealand 069er. Auckland approach New Zealand 069er is at 11,300 feet, descending 3,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er, Auckland approach, continue to erect as planned. Altimeter 29.902. New Zealand 069er, contact New Zealand Center on 119.2.
Going to 119.2 New Zealand 069er. Zealand Centre, New Zealand 069er is at 10,500 feet, descending 3,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er, New Zealand Centre, continue to drag as planned. Altimeter 29.92. New Zealand 069er, contact Auckland approach on 129.5.
129.5 New Zealand 069er. Auckland approach New Zealand 069er is out of 9,300 feet for 3,000 feet.
New Zealand 069er, Auckland approach, continue to erect as planned. Altimeter 29.92.
There seems to be a few people having the issues with their autopilot. Sorry, not their automatic pilot. Their AI co-pilot. Just absolutely going on about the overspeeds. Alright, let's have a look outside. So I think I'm going, unless I need to change. I think I'm just going to stay outside unless there's something that I need to actually change in the cockpit. Otto has the ship. There's Auckland Airport. So don't let me down. So it looks like there's a few people asking the same thing. Overspeed warning, question mark. A320 overspeed in AI mode. Overspeed around 300 knots. A320 overspeed warning AI pilot. A320 overspeed 220 knots. So I might have to do some more reading about that, but why is overspeed bad? So there actually may be a difference between your different speeds, and maybe that's part of the confusion. But we're 11 nautical miles out now. Let's see if Otto can do a good job. And I think we'll probably cancel our IFR at this point. Instrument flight rules.
Auckland approach New Zealand 069er. Cancel IFR at this time.
New Zealand 069er IFR flight plan is cancelled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
We'll try this one.
Auckland approach New Zealand 069er 1 miles northwest of Auckland. Request IFR to Auckland. Ready to copy.
Let's see what they do this time. He's like, what are you doing?
New Zealand 069er, read back correct. Radar contact 3,100 feet. Altimeter 29er, decimal 9er, 2 turn left, heading 070, resume on navigation climb and maintain 9,100 feet.
Turn left heading 070, resume on navigation climb and maintain 9,100 feet. New Zealand 069er.
So we're obviously getting put in a holding pattern here. What was it? 191. And what was our heading? Our heading 070. Whoops. So I've still got the autopilot on, still got the auto throttles on. I've just put in the new altitude that we're climbing to and our new heading, which explains the turn that we're making it. So obviously not quite ready for us yet. So Kiora, hang on. Yeah, let's do that. So we're almost there. We can see the airport below us. And we're approaching our new altitude, so that's why the auto throttles have decided you don't need too much more power, my dude. Now, one thing that I think that some people are missing with the question about the overspeed from the co-pilot, from the AI, people like me, who are relatively new to this, think that you can put the autopilot on, and the autopilot won't overspeed, Otto, or they won't crash, Otto. I noticed in the forum that some people have called their autopilot Charlie. Not exactly sure why, but they have. And so we'll just see how long they're going to keep us up here for. It's been a while since I've been to Auckland, but it looks alright. Should have probably done this a while ago, but we'll put the seatbelt sign back on. See if we can ask for a cruising altitude decrease. Say by 4,000 feet. Let's see what happens.
Auckland approach New Zealand 069er. Request 9,500 feet.
No, that's not what I wanted. They're probably like, what's this guy on about? Decrease by 2,000 feet. Let's ask for that.
Auckland approach New Zealand 069er. Request 11,500 feet.
They obviously don't know what decrease means. Because if I'm at 92.20 and I ask for a decrease, they shouldn't be saying, "Oh, dude, you can ask for 11." Very odd. So we're just doing laps of Auckland at the moment as if we're in some sort of holding pattern. Hang on, yeah, we need to go up.
Auckland approach New Zealand 069er would like to change destination to Auckland.
Well, that's not exactly what I...
069er is cleared to Auckland Airport as filed. Squawk 4541.
New Zealand 069er cleared to Auckland Airport as filed. Squawk 4541.
Saying...
Land 069er, read back correct. Radar contact 9,200 feet. Altimeter 29er, decimal 9er, 2 turn right heading 075. Proceed on course climb and maintain 13,000 feet.
Turn right heading 075. Resume on navigation climb and maintain 13,000 feet. New Zealand 069er.
Land 069er, you are 2 miles north. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 23 left approach via MRAC transition. Cleared to MRAC.
Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 23 left approach via MRAC transition. Cleared to MRAC New Zealand 069er.
Oops. All right. So I'm going to control this right until it says, hey, you're clear to land. And then I'm like, you know what, Otto? Turn the autopilot off. And say, you got the ship, my friend. So we're on our way down. A little bit of a holding pattern above Auckland. So we're just on a little bit of a holding pattern at the moment. Above the airport. Autopilot's doing all the work at the moment. Now, I know I'm not doing all of this myself. Like, I haven't told the, told the plane to go into a holding pattern or anything like that. But in time to come, that's what they'd expect from me. So we're down to 3,700. So while we're doing our loops, we are descending, and we're almost there. Okay, maybe this is what I should have done in the last airliner episode 12, where we give control to Otto right at the end, do the actual landing. I thought that we were going to do loops like we are now, I thought we'd do it a bit further away from the airport. You know, somewhere over this lake is where I thought that we'd do it. You know, do some circuits around this lake, for instance. That's where I thought we'd do it. And then that way you're not interrupting any planes that are coming in. I haven't seen any AI aircraft yet. The only thing that I can think of is that aircraft would be coming in from the taking off and arriving at the other direction. But then again, you'd have to keep this area clear anyway, because what if someone has to come in and do a go around? Just seems a bit strange to be doing these circles here and holding us here. There's plenty of airspace to do all that. That's not directly over one end of the airport, over one of the approaches, I would have thought, but here we are. There's one final thing until I do some more reading about the AI overspeed thing. I expect the AI pilots to know what the overspeed things were. Now, we're not seeing me doing any overspeeding or anything like that while I've got control of the aircraft and the autopilot's on. And that's what I basically think that Otto is. Otto's basically just like the autopilot. But seemingly I'm not the only one having this issue, so it's just not you, Otto. Oh, it's engage. No, not decrease. Engage. It's interesting. The airport is right there. We're going over the airport now. And yet the little arrow marker's telling us to go 12 nautical miles to the left. So I'm going to cancel the IFR and see what happens. To sort of say to ATC, come on, let us in.
Land 069er, IFR flight plan is cancelled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
Auckland approach New Zealand Land 069er is type Airbus A320 and 3 miles southeast of Auckland, 3,000 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
Land 069er, Auckland approach. Squawk 1115.
Okay, it's just to say, hey, Auckland, we're here. Can you let us in?
Squawk 1115 New Zealand Land 069er.
Land 069er, radar contact 3 miles east of Auckland, 3,000 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace. Maintain on navigation.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace, New Zealand Land 069er.
Auckland Airport information, Oscar 02000. Wind 250 at 3. Visibility, niner. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 13. Altimeter, 29.902. ILS runway, 23, left in use. Landing and departing runway, 23 left. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller, on initial contact, you have Oscar.
Auckland Tower, New Zealand Land 069er is 2 miles south with Padma to land.
New Zealand Land 069er, Auckland Tower. Make left traffic runway 23 left. Altimeter 29.9er, 21250 at 3.
Fly left downwind runway 23 left New Zealand Land 069er.
So we're trying to get Otto now, or we should get Otto now, to fly the pattern, and let's land this thing.
New Zealand 069er cleared to land runway 23 left. Wind 250 at 3.
Roger that.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
Clear to land runway 23 left New Zealand Land 069er.
Overspeed.
2,500.
overspeed, 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 overspeed.
So let's see if he decides to try and join the pattern.
Overspeed, 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 overspeed.
So we should be doing 185 knots.
Overspeed, 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 overspeed.
All right, gear down.
Overspeed, 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 overspeed.
Now, eventually I will turn these markers off, but I'm not at that stage of my development at this stage.
Overspeed, 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 overspeed.
Gonna fire the pattern, Otto.
Overspeed, overspeed, overspeed.
Oh, he's going in the general direction of the pattern, so
Overspeed, 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 overspeed.
oh, he's cutting power finally. Alright, let's see if he's going to do a left turn here and come in on the approach.
1,000.
Oh, I feel a little bit better seeing the wings start the turn. Alright, let's see how you go. Otto, you have the ship. Good luck. We're all counting on you. Oh, there's the train station. The last time I was in Auckland, they didn't even have electric trains. They do now. I think that was 2012 I was last in Auckland. That makes it sound like I've been there a lot, but I've only been there once. Right, here we go. Here we go.
300. 200.
Looking a bit low, but is going okay. I don't think I want to look head on.
100.
Okay, got the airport in sight
60,
now.
50. 40.
Oh, Otto!
30. 20. Retard. 5.
Slightly wide.
Nosy Line 069 or contact ground on 121.9er.
121.9er to see land 069er.
Oops, hang on.
Auckland Airport information whiskey 0200 Zulu. Line 25.
Wrong one.
Auckland ground New Zealand 069er taxi to the gate.
New Zealand 069er taxi to gate 2 via taxiway Alpha.
Taxiing to gate 2 by taxiway Alpha New Zealand 069er.
Well, it was better than the last flight we took together, Otto. You landed this time. So that's a bonus, I guess. Taxiing's good. Okay, it recognises that I'm not actually at the gate yet, so I can't request the ground services until I actually arrive at the gate. Oh, there's a Scoot plane next to us. Scoot's a low-cost carrier, which is basically the low-cost carrier of Singapore Airlines, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought they might have had a Thought they might have had a marshaller here to guide us in. So we'll just make sure that we're stopped first. Now, are you going forward anymore, Otto, or are you going to stay there, you reckon? Oh no, we do have a marshaller there. I'm sorry. Just in front of the tug there. Okay. We're just inching forward. And just about ready to come to a stop. I can't zoom in anymore. Hang on, I'll just... So we're almost there. Just inching forward with precision and stop right there.
Auckland ground New Zealand 069er, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
No, I actually want to... Oh, okay, that's all it wants us to do. Okay, so we have arrived. We actually flew 1 hour and 41 minutes. That's going to be our logbook time. The flight time is a little bit longer, but for brevity, I shortened some of the sequences, but that's okay. So we have landed safely in New Zealand. Wasn't the best landing in the history of this airport, but we managed to make it anyway. Anywho, I've been Simulated Erk, and on behalf of First Officer Otto and myself, I'd like to thank you for flying with us today, and we look forward to your company again soon. Thank you and good afternoon.